Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Colette and my channel is Inspiring Life Changes, and I'm here today to do the tarot part of the reading, the second reading today for the full moon that has taken place in Aries earlier today. So this is for the collective, a collective intuitive tarot reading around the energies of what is occurring in our lives at this time. So if you're interested in finding out any more about the astrology, I have put an astrology reading out there. I have already done the first part of the full moon readings, and there's also going to be a link in the description box down below for you to go and check out for yourselves if you want to know any more of the astrology for yourself. You just need your time, birth and place of birth as well. So it's time, date and place of birth, and you put those into the search part, and you'll be able to find out where your placements are, and also to understand a little bit more and get a bigger picture of what's going on for yourselves. So the reason that I say that is because sometimes the astrology comes into the tarot reading as well, so I may talk about certain cards in the form of being an astrological body in particular that is affecting us at this time. So I'm going to start the reading off with this beautiful card here, which is a card of White Tara. And she is saying, you have to excuse me because I've only got the one light on at the moment. So White Tara is saying, known as she who hears the cries of the world, Tara will always come to your aid when you call. I'm trying to show you more of the card itself. It's a bit difficult. Her colour is white as an autumn moon, which is interesting because this is actually the autumn moon that we're in, the Huntress moon as well. It's Aries full moon. And clear as a stainless crystal gem, she radiates an uncompromising light of purity. She is truth, complete and undifferentiated. Within each one of us is the goddess of compassion, White Tara. Manifest as White Tara, the goddess of active compassion, and shower this planet with pure love. And the words at the bottom of this is Mother of all Buddhas. So if anybody's interested in perhaps taking a screenshot or just pausing the video to read it for yourselves. And what I find interesting about this in particular is the fact that the astrology reading that I did earlier is actually about the light and the galactic center. So if you're interested in finding out more about the light that is coming into our earth plane at this time, then give that video a watch. So White Tara to start off the reading. And the first card that we have is the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. So the Nine of Pentacles in reverse is talking about our lack of self-esteem, our lack of self-worth. It's saying that at this time, this is the heart of the reading, the heart of the energy. Nine of Pentacles at this time. We're all feeling very drained, I would say, at this time. Drained, lack of vitality, lack of energy, lack of resources, lack of knowing what's coming next. It is a 9, so the 9 does imply that we're almost at the end of something, that we've almost got there, and it is covered, interestingly enough, by the 10 of Pentacles, and I did shuffle them really well. Covered by the 10 of Pentacles, and the 10 of Pentacles is about our legacy. It's about what we accumulate in our lives in order to to pass it on, pass it forward to the generations to come, which is why there's always a kind of family energy about the Ten of Pentacles. We see here there's generations there. There's the grandfather, parents, and the baby that the grandfather's holding. Parents are behind. There's even a cat, I believe, on his lap. No, it's a dog. Sorry, it's a dog. There's a dog on his lap. And it kind of, because it's our challenge at this time, it's our blocking energy, it's kind of implying a situation of loss of connection, I would say. Loss of connection with the family, with our generational ancestry, with our roots even, because of what we've been going through. This is where we are today in this situation. Because although it has got all these pentacles surrounding it, there is a deeper meaning to the Ten of Pentacles itself, and it is about how we will be remembered as well when we are no longer on the earthly plane, how we will be remembered for the deeds that we did, who will remember us, our legacy, literally our legacy as we create it, as we go through life. And it isn't always about how much you can accumulate. It's also about having support and love around you, being taken care of in our old age, and even in our younger years as well, having people there who can keep that family tradition alive is what's coming through. So that's our blocking energy at this time. That's our challenge, if you like, is to it feels like not just prioritize, but to remember the value of that, like how simple it is and how much we've kind of taken it for granted until we no longer have it, until it's not there anymore. It's only then that we kind of realize what it was that we had in the first place, and how much value, how much more valuable that is compared to all of this wealth, if you like. It's like, it's all wealth, but that's a different kind of wealth. So, in our head, and what we are aware of at this time with this Knight of Cups, he comes out quite a lot in these readings, I've noticed, this Knight of Cups. Cups is the water energy, the water signs. It relates to Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy, so very watery, intuitive, feeling, sensitive, and knowing about this energy. And he's carrying this cup in his hand, and how that's coming through for me is that he's looking down into that cup and he's kind of realizing, like as he's looking into this cup, that the only reflection in this cup is his own. And it could have something to do with this energy here as well, because in order for this to be successful, the family, we need also to have a partner. And that's what the Knight of Cups is really about. He's about romance. He can be quite idealistic He can be in love with the idea of love itself, but that can also be something that we are missing on this, again, earthly plane, if you like, because this is all very earthly energy. Pentacles is very earthly energy, so it's all about the material, the environment, the physical domain. Whereas this is much more about the emotional realm, the emotions, our need for company, our need to have a partner, that search. But there can also be, within the Knight of Cups, there can also be this quality of kind of perfection, like wanting the perfect love, if you like, with no flaws. Almost like rose-tinted glasses kind of feeling about this card today. And that's what's in our head and what we're aware of. Maybe that's what it's saying, is that we've been looking at the world through rose-tinted glasses, or yeah, looking at the world through rose-tinted glasses that have kind of led us to a place of unhappiness. It's not happiness, it's not true happiness, because that's what's coming through with these two cards here, particularly with the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. Our self-esteem is very low. Our self-worth is very low. So the energy that's moving away, and what's been around for a while, is the Ace of Pentacles. So again, more earth energy, more material energy, and this could be, because the 9 and the 10 being the final ending as well, this could also have a lot to do with people having to start afresh, start a new business, walk away from something that they've been involved with for a long time, which could also be this energy here as well, having to make decisions to walk away from something. And this could also be those decisions, leaving something that we love behind, possibly to find something else that's going to make us happy. That could be work situations, relationship situations, family situations. It's a general overall read for the collective, so it's going to come over differently for everybody. But it feels as though that's what this Ace of Pentacles is saying, that there has been this kind of new start in a lot of people's lives. It's like a lot of people have had to start over again after kind of possibly even being very, like, having reached a point of success or stability, or what am I getting? Achievement. Like achievement in places of work, in particular places of work, is how it's coming through. Achievement in our lives in general, and having to kind of put it all to one side and start something else. And what we have underneath in our subconscious realm, and what we're not so aware of at this time, is the Justice card. And justice is all about that karmic balance. It's all about actions and reactions, or like the past becoming the present, which then becomes our future, which of course is always the present. But it's like the three of these kind of thought processes, if you like, the past, the present and the future, lead from one to the other. And because justice is upside down, it's kind of saying to me that there is justice. There is this sense of like almost like what has happened to us over these past 2 years has not been because we have done anything wrong. It's not like these actions, it's like these actions were put on us rather than us kind of creating that situation, if you like, but we've had to just go along with the actions, with kind of like the results, if you like, of those actions that have been taken. We have had to go along with the results. So it's not like we personally have created the situation that we've had to live through on that level. But it's also, of course, about how you deal with the situation as you're going through it, as you live it, as to what the next step's going to be for you, as to what the next outcome's going to be. We have the 3 of rods, or 3 of wands, which is in reverse. I will just say as well that with the Justice card, it's just been told me, I've just been reminded that this card for me is not the Libra energy. I see this more as the Gemini energy, the Justice energy, the duality of something. I have my own reasons for that, but also I'm seeing this at this time as the North Node being in Gemini, which is where we've kind of been heading. The North Node is our karmic destination. So we've kind of been heading towards this karmic outcome, if you like, on a collective scale. So in many ways, it's kind of, it hasn't really made a big difference as to what we, on an individual level, have decided for ourselves. This is about a bigger, much kind of grander collective overall energy that we haven't been able to avoid. So back to the 3 of rods here in reverse. It's often seen as a card of like our boats coming in, like things that we've been waiting for, but I kind of see it as a card of risk taking as well, because if you don't take risks, nothing really changes. The wands energy is the fire energy, so it's the creative energy, it's the putting your passion and your drive into something to create something. So it goes from the 2 to the, or sorry, from the ace to the 2 to the 3. So for me, it's that risk of taking that next step, of not knowing where it's going to lead us, where it's going to take us, but also knowing that we can't stay forever kind of stranded on the side of this quay or the bank of the river or whatever, wherever it is that he's standing on the side of the beach, or, and he's seeing these boats coming in the distance, and so he has a choice to make as well. But also today I'm also seeing this as it can also be about patience, but I'm also seeing it as being about something being stranded, because it's in reverse as well. It feels like a situation that's going to take some time to work through, like an energy that's going to hang around for a while we deal with it or cope with it. It's like the next step, although step's not really the word I'm wanting to use here. It's like the next challenge on our journey. And it does feel like something being like held back, something being held back. And what I'm actually getting and what I'm actually seeing is that at this time we've got a lot of ships, shall we say, and again I don't like to say too much because things get flagged on channels, but let's just say there's a lot of ships in the water at this time with a lot of treasure on it that isn't coming in to the shore. They're stuck out there and they're kind of stranded out there, and there's a lot of treasure that isn't being evenly distributed at this time, and that's kind of how this card is coming through for me. And it's like it's coming into our awareness slowly but surely. It's beginning to make itself known. And what we have in our environment at this time is the Emperor, and he's in reverse. And so the Emperor in reverse is a definite energy of control, of stopping things from flowing. It is a very dogmatic, domineering energy, an energy of you will do what I say because I am the authority. I am the authority. It is the authority energy, the Emperor. And that can come through in many different ways. And it doesn't have to be singular. It is an energy of authority that takes over and expresses its control and its domination through that kind of enforced self-belief in its own authority, or also through other people giving it authority, giving it that power. But it's in reverse. So whenever the Emperor is in reverse, he's always like coming from that lower vibration of the masculine controlling energy. Like when he's upright, he can be very fair and very capable and very what's the word? Like he can rule, but he can rule with compassion and understanding and fairness, but not when he's in reverse. And when he's in reverse, it feels to me very much like the Saturn energy that we're dealing with here. And Saturn and Uranus have just started to reconnect again after a period of time where we haven't had that energy at all in our lives. Like Saturn has been connecting with other things and Uranus has been connecting with other things, but Saturn and Uranus connecting together, we haven't had that since August, end of August. So it's been kind of 6 months, a big chunk of time when that energy kind of calmed down, shall we say, but it's coming back, and it's coming back with a force. So there's going to be a lot more dominating energy out there, controlling, dominating, power, really kind of, that's why I'm getting this kind of power hungry energy as well. So it's top down energy, but it's top down energy that is being used in a negative, restrictive way. And we have the Knight of Swords in our, well, it's the energy of how other people see us. So I tend to see this as the energy of how the collective sees each other, or itself, if you like. The Knight of Swords, for me, it's air energy. I mean, it is air energy, that's not just for me, it is air energy. And it is the energy of Gemini, Libra and Aquarius. We've got a lot of Libra energy at this time, but I see this more as the Gemini energy. Very quick moving, it's interesting because today it's coming through other than Gemini energy. Usually I would see this as a Gemini energy, but today it's kind of coming through more as this kind of Mars in Libra energy. The Knight's, like, I'm seeing it also as the seeker of truth. But it's in reverse. It's fast acting, quick thinking, spontaneous, very, quick to action energy, which the full moon in Aries is quite like that at the moment as well, because we've also got Aries right next to this full moon, and Aries is that kind of feisty female warrior-esque energy. But I'm kind of seeing this as it's almost like an energy that's working against. Okay, this could possibly be to do with censorship. I see it as a seeker of truth, but also of this energy being, because it's in reverse, it's like it's also being kept controlled. It's like this energy here is kind of keeping this subdued, keeping it down, stopping it from being able to get out, to get going, to get moving. It's like almost like this same kind of energy here. Feels like something like needing a kick up the backside is kind of how it's coming through. Like a wake-up call about something. Because this X to me kind of marks that kind of marks the X marks the spot, but I'm also seeing it as this kind of, the sword is the sword of truth. It cuts through things so that you can see the reality, see the truth of something. It's very single-minded, very focused on something, but it's in reverse. So it's kind of, okay, there's a lot of air energy is what I'm being told. And this is actually something that I didn't speak about in the astrology this time, although I have done it in other readings. If anybody's interested in going back and looking at any of my other astrology readings previous to this one that I'm going to put out, and possibly even the one before that. I can't think what it was called. I think I might have called it the Mystic Rectangle, the Grand Air Trine, because we still have that same Grand Air Trine going on as well. So that Grand Air Trine is all about information, it's all about data, it's all about this kind of energy, this air energy, this mind energy, this searching, kind of seeking answers energy. But because it's in reverse, it's also being subdued and kept hidden by the controlling, authoritarian energy that's out there at the same time. So there's a lot of data, a lot of information out there. So also there's a need for discernment here as well, to be discerning about the information and the data. Also, I'm being told, like, Gemini rules all sorts of pieces of paper, like writing and education, but pieces of paper in general. And again, I don't want to kind of use words that are going to flag my channel, so I'm just going to put it as two separate words and or a sentence and kind of say that it's also coming through with that idea of a man on a date. So you can make your own assumption from that, but that's again something that is coming through here as well. Data, information, needing to know, like this energy here needs to know what's going on. It wants to collect as much, but it doesn't want to give it. It doesn't want to give it out. It just wants to suck it all in, is how I'm being shown this. It just wants to suck it all in. If you see, he's actually got this crystal ball here in his hand as well, which is kind of coming across as this this kind of surveillance, shall we say. So that's how that's coming through for me today. And our hopes and our fears are very good. We have the Sun card, which is clarity, optimism, seeing things differently. A light at the end of the tunnel is also how I'm seeing this. Brightness, happiness, cheerfulness, things feeling better, coming out of the dark. And my reading, my astrology reading, I actually called it We Are the Light. I was going to call it Into the Light, but I was told at the last moment to change it to We Are the Light. So that kind of represents that for me as well. Like this kind of awakening is also how it's coming through. This awakening, because like we wake up in the morning when the sun rises. It's a new day. I've got that song in my head now. A new day, a new dawn, and I'm feeling good. That's the energy that's coming through with this card. If you don't know the lyrics to that song, then I suggest you go and look them up. It's a brilliant song, quite an old song, but an absolutely excellent. I think there's quite a lot of different versions of that song out there now as well, so lots of different choices, but it's an absolutely excellent song. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, and I'm feeling good. I think it might have been, brain's gone completely dead now, so they flashed through my head, flashed, like I saw it flash through my brain, and then it just like disappeared. Is it Nina Simone? I think Nina Simone did a really good version of that. It might have even been Nina Simone who did the original version of that, but I'm not 100% certain. Anyway, back to the reading. We have, as the very last card, the Hierophant. And what I'm getting from this is a very similar energy to this here as well. This card, the Hierophant, usually is about faith and trust and who we put our faith and our trust in. It normally represents like established religions, and like literally Hierophant, the word Hierophant, and I've spoken about this before, it means bridge, or the Pontifex means bridge, and Hierophant comes from the word Pontifex. So it was, he was, or whoever it was the bridge between the physical and the spiritual world. He was the one who would bring in the messages. So, you know, the Hierophant could have been like, in indigenous tribes, it would have been the shaman or the shaman to start with. The bridge between the two worlds. But it has become, over the centuries, much more this idea of established religion that we have to follow, that we have to believe this certain story that has been given to us. But it feels here with this in reverse as well, that there's a lot of questioning that is going on here about people, and it doesn't have to be religion. It just feels like people that we have grown to trust, people that we've put our trust in, and this could be in all walks of life, law courts, medical, all walks of life. People that we trust their words, we trust their actions, we trust them because they're in positions of superior power over us. But when it's in reverse, there is this strong feeling that something isn't right there. Something isn't right. It's like, again, it's like that kind of waking up, but maybe waking up to things that we didn't necessarily want to understand or to see clearly about. Because sometimes it's much easier to stay in the kind of belief system, which is also the Hierophant as well, belief system, believing in something generationally because that's what's been passed down to you. I do just want to say as well very quickly that at the bottom of the deck here we also have the Two of Pentacles. And if you look in the back of the card for the Two of the Pentacles, you can see boats kind of in this very tumultuous, I think the word is, sea behind him, and he's got these two pentacles in his hands which he's balancing up, and I always see these two pentacles as kind of like the past and the future, and trying to kind of prioritize or decide what's more valuable or more important to us, as to what do we want to take with us into that future, what can we let go of. And that's really kind of quite apt at this time, particularly with these boats as well. These same two boats here in the 3 are also here in this 2. So it is this time of kind of uncertainty in many ways, like shipwrecked, like these boats going down. It could even be that this character here is feeling shipwrecked in a way in the 3 of rods. Now that the sea has calmed down. And the sea, of course, represents the emotions as well. And the boat, for me, always represents life itself. But interestingly as well, his eyes are shut and he's quite oblivious to what's going on behind him, because his focus of attention is here on these 2 pentacles and what he can do or not do with them. Again, I see it as past and future energy. And so to clarify, we have first of all the 7 of Wands, and that is also in reverse. Over the top of this 9 of Pentacles, our self-esteem or lack of self-esteem and lack of self-worth. And the 10 of Pentacles, our legacy, our idea of success and achievement. And the 7 of Wands is normally a card of kind of standing up for what we believe in, for our beliefs, for who we are, for justifying. A card of justification, having to justify ourselves, who we are, what we believe in. Why do we believe in that? What makes us feel we have the right to believe that? So it's kind of often seen with like 6 other people in front of this one person, and he's got this rod or wand kind of across the front of him, and he's pushing the other 6 people back because they're all kind of trying to force something on him that he doesn't necessarily believe is true, and he's having to stand his ground and stand up for who he is. But in this card we also see somebody who, I'll turn it up the right way because it's easier. We see somebody who's trying to kind of leap across onto these rocks or points of kind of sticks that are sticking out of the water. And there's like a pathway, it's almost like a pathway that he's having to take to get to the safety, to get to the shore here. But it's in reverse. So it kind of implies a situation of confusion. Like overwhelm. also kind of like things are a bit shaky, like hesitancy, not being sure that he's going to be able to make it to the shore, to the other side, to safety, to the security of land. So there's kind of like, you know, when you're doing something and you have to balance, and again, that's interesting because balance is coming in again, when you have to kind of balance, and also with this justice energy down here as well, the balancing with the scales. When you have to balance and stay sure-footed and in a way just go for it, which is also kind of that risk-taking energy that I was talking about here as well. And we are in cardinal energy, which is all about being bold, all about making a move, all about, also with this Aries full moon, about standing up, kind of finding that inner warrior or warrioress, and just really kind of like not taking any crap. But at the same time, it's like the image I'm getting is literally of somebody who's kind of really hesitant about taking that leap, trusting the path, trusting that they can be sure-footed, trusting that they know where their next step is going to be enough to actually do it. But it's kind of like every time they go to take that step, it's like this negative voice, if you like, in the head that is kind of saying, oh, you're not going to make it, you're not going to do that, don't try, because you're not going to do it, it's not going to happen. It's kind of how that's coming through. And again, it's kind of adding to that feeling of uncertainty and disempowerment with this 9 here, this sense of feeling drained, feeling uncertain. What's the next step? Can we do it? Can we get safely to the other side? Are we going to get stuck in the middle? Are we going to get swept under? So it's coming through as a sense of a sense of not really believing that we have the ability or the capability or the skills needed in order to be able to get to or achieve what it is that we want to achieve. And that is wacky. Because over the top of the Knight of Cups, we have the Knight of Cups, or the Knight of Chalices, as he is here. But it is the same card, twice. This one is in reverse. I'm just going to take my glasses off and have a quick look at this. There's a similar energy, again, to this 7 of Wands that's coming through with this Knight of Chalices here. And the reason being for that is that how this is coming through for me, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but when it's upright, it's like he's riding on this wave. He's riding on this wave, he's kind of like full steam ahead, he knows where he's going, he's riding on his emotions. He's trusting his emotions, his intuitive feeling and emotions to take him across the danger. But it's in reverse. And I'm seeing these, like loops here in the water. I'm kind of seeing these as a bit like a monster, like a beast, like the Loch Ness monster. Like kind of what's coming through, but it's like some kind of beast that's lying in wait for him at the bottom. But because he's, if you see him, I don't know if you can see him, the actual character there is, he's kind of thrown his arm is thrown out, and he's got this cup in his arm. And it's like he's just riding this wave of like what it just looks like emotional bliss. He just looks like he's really thoroughly enjoying that ride. But when it's in reverse, it's almost like he... Again, that sense of hesitancy, again, that sense of like not trusting the process, not trusting our emotions, not trusting that intuitive knowing that it will all work out. And it's interesting because it's almost like, you know, which side are you going to choose? Which one are you going to choose? Are you going to choose this one down here? Or you're going to choose this one over here, who is much more like, he's reflecting in that cup. He's much more thoughtful and much more what's the word, reflective, thoughtful, careful. There's something more considerate about this Knight of Cups than there is about this Knight of Cups, who is kind of just in it for the... It's like two different sides of the same character in a way, because they're both a Knight of Cups, but it's like one is much more... How can I express this? One is much more... It's almost like just in it for the ride, just in it for the pleasure element of it, for his own kind of feeding their own emotions and getting from it what they can. Whereas the other Knight of Cups is much more about the other, like this Ace of Cups here, or this cup here, is kind of the other. It's like, where is the other? Whereas this one is much more kind of like anything will do, shall we say. Anything will do. It doesn't matter. As long as I just get my needs met. As long as I just get what I want. And I don't care how it happens. So there's like a split. And it's interesting because there is a split at this time. There's a massive split out there in the world. So it is, it's like split personality in a way. Is what's coming through. This split personality. Two sides of I don't want to say the same coin because it's not quite that. It's two sides of the emotional spectrum. like one end and the other end, two kind of, possibly also to do with this energy here as well. The duality is how it's coming through, the duality of something from one extreme to the other extreme. And we also have, again, the Sun card. And this is over the top of the Ace of Pentacles. So this is what's moving away. This is an interesting Sun card because it's full of colour. It does look like an oil painting. It kind of almost looks like a painting that somebody has just kind of thrown loads of colour at something just to see how it's going to turn out. But again, the Sun card is happiness, it's clarity, it's joy of life. And maybe that's kind of where we're coming from, is this kind of learning to enjoy ourselves again, learning to enjoy having had time to create, to learn how to create again, to learn what's important to us, but to learn how to enjoy what it is that we stopped doing. If that makes any sense, as in more creative ideas, more creative like hobbies, things that we normally wouldn't have had time to do. We've had so much time that we've had to kind of find things to fill that time up with. And that's kind of how it's coming through for me here, this new beginning. This could also have had something to do for a lot of people actually finding what it was that they really wanted to do in their lives, rather than just doing something because they'd kind of fallen into it or it was expected of them. That this gave people a time to kind of find that that stability in a way. There was also going to give them fulfillment, is how it's coming through. To find that fulfillment in themselves or in ourselves. And we also have the Chariot there as well, but the Chariot is in reverse. Interesting, because for me the Chariot represents the Mars Aries energy. In this deck it's actually a car, but in most decks it will show a chariot, like being drawn by horses with somebody in the chariot. And for me that is the Mars energy, like I was saying, and this is the full moon in Aries as well. So we've got the Sun and the Mars, or Sun and the Aries energy here. And the Sun, of course, is opposing the Aries energy at this time. The Chariot in reverse is about kind of having been stuck, having to, literally, it feels like having to turn the ignition off, kind of put the brake on, turn the ignition off, sit back and kind of, as I was saying, kind of time. There's been so much time. That we've kind of had to find things to fill it with, to indulge ourselves with, to find ways of keeping ourselves entertained or pleasure. But it's come from this place of like turning off the ignition. And I'm also seeing that symbolically as well within ourselves, like turning off the ignition, not being able to go out, just get in the car and just go to work or wherever we felt like we wanted to be. It was that time of really kind of of having to literally like hold the horses, hold back on those horses. Everything came to a grinding halt. But it did have its purpose. And with the sun, which is like the most powerful card in the deck, the card of pleasure, enjoyment, happiness, clarity, light, understanding, can even be like wisdom as well. Like being in the spotlight. The sun puts things in the spotlight, but interestingly, I'm seeing like these lights going off in order for this to become clear, to be seen, to be able to be seen. Everything had to stop. Everything had to come to a halt. And as I say that, we had the Knight of Pentacles in reverse as well. And when the Knight of Pentacles is in reverse, because the Knight of Pentacles is the slowest knight in the deck anyway, and we now have 3 of the knights on the table in the reading, the Knight of Pentacles, when he's in reverse, I mean, if you look at him when he's upright, he looks like he's been on a really long journey. I mean, that unicorn just looks exhausted, like it's absolutely worn out. Because the Knight of Pentacles is very, very thorough in everything that he does. He wants to get it all absolutely right before he makes his final move, before he decides, yes, this is what it is that's happening. But it's in reverse, it's over the top of the Justice card here. And so again, it's like going with this 9 of Pentacles, it is exhaustion. It's like we are all exhausted. And it is like we've been put through this kind of karmic ringer. And we're kind of coming out the other side, but we're exhausted, almost like flat energy wise. There is no energy. And again, if you put these 2 cards together here, like the Chariot and the Knight of Pentacles, it's very similar energy. As I was saying, like this is just turning off the ignition. It's almost like it's run out of fuel, and so has this Knight of Pentacles here as well. He's run out of fuel, he's exhausted. He knows that he's close to where he wants to be though. He knows that he's almost made it on his long journey, and that he's discovered a lot as well. That's another thing about the Knight of Pentacles as well. Because he is the slowest moving knight, he does tend to gather a lot of information, gather a lot, like he learns a lot from his journey, because unlike the Knight of Swords, who is really fast, active, and just wants to kind of get from A to B, and the Knight of Pentacles, the Knight of Wands is quite similar as well, because it's very fiery, dynamic, doing energy. And the Knight of Cups is usually so wrapped up kind of either in love or in himself that he kind of misses things on the journey as well. But the Knight of Pentacles learns a lot. He learns from the journey. because he takes his time, because he takes everything in. He really does kind of have like this extra how can you put it, this kind of like he doesn't miss any details. He doesn't miss any details because he's what's the words I'm getting here? He's okay, that's it. It's just, okay, he doesn't miss any details is what I'm being told. And the details, the devils are in the details. The devil is in the details, and the Knight of Pentacles doesn't miss the details. And because he's in reverse in the kind of deep subconscious of what we're not so aware of, this long drawn out journey that we've been on over these last few years is it's like on the surface, to us on the surface, it all seems very kind of pointless, or very kind of I need to be careful what words I use here. Pointless isn't necessarily a good word. It all seems very okay, kind of unworthwhile. But the Knight of Pentacles is saying here to me that there has been a lot learnt through this. There is a lot that we are learning through this journey that we otherwise, as a collective, we wouldn't have reached this stage of evolutionary growth, shall we say. And it also feels as well that there is a lot that we're yet to understand about that as well, that is yet to kind of come into our conscious awareness, because it's in the subconscious still. So it hasn't actually reached our conscious awareness because we haven't really had the time to digest it or to look back at it, because we're still in it. So it's not going to be until later down the line, when we look back, that we will be able to see what it was all about on a deeper level of understanding, is kind of what's also coming through. And I'm also getting the word treasure again as well, like the treasure, what was actually the essence or the treasure from the situation. So over the top of the Three of Rods or Three of Wands, we have the Five of Chalices, which is not a particularly happy card. Card of loss, a card of disappointment, can be a card of regret. It's in reverse as well. So there does feel like there's this long ongoing, because both of these are in reverse. So there's still painful situations that we're going to have to go through at this time. And it's also come out with the Two of Swords here as well. And so it feels as though with these two cards, it feels as though there could be, because this is about decisions that have to be made, like decisions that we're being asked, or in the future that we are going to still have to make. And it feels like there could be some regret around these decisions. Again, I don't want to say too much about certain words, but I would just say that the medical procedure, shall we say, even though that's not necessarily what I would like to call it, that in particular is going to cause a lot of regret, sorrow, sadness, loss, disappointment, but also the decisions that we're yet to make in the future as well. So it feels like the decisions from having made in the past, and the decisions that are still being made in the future as we move forward. Because we're also not being given all the knowledge and the understanding as well behind these decisions that we're having to make at this time. And that's what I feel what this risk energy is about as well. This risk energy, as I was talking about earlier, like having to take risks on things that we may not necessarily want to. Also possibly, like, it could feel with this Two of Swords here as well, it could also feel in reverse. I'll just turn it up this way so you can see the actual image of this person who's sitting there. He's blindfolded, and he has these two swords in front of him, which to me looks something like something else. I'm sure you've probably got what I mean by that by now. So he's blindfolded, he doesn't know what he's doing, and when it's in reverse it's even more long-term, confusion, but lack of wisdom, lack of understanding, lack of, again, that knowledge, that knowing something. So hair or something hanging in my eye. It's not having all the information that is needed in order to be able to make the decision from the right place, from that place of knowing. And that also comes down to what I feel is this trusting energy as well, this who we put our trust into. So in the future, and again, See, I keep getting the word blackmail as well coming in as well, which is a word I don't particularly like to use, but that is what's coming through, is this sense of blackmail, of having to do this in order for us to be able to move forward, shall we say, and to get what we need in order to stay kind of having our needs met. Pardon me. This is also coming through with a sense of kind of leaping through hoops as well, having to leap through, like moving the goalposts as well is what's coming through here. Like the goalposts keep being moved about on things that we thought were kind of settled. So let's see what we have on this Emperor. On the Emperor we have the Four of Pentacles in reverse. So this is very stubborn energy, which is kind of implying to me that this authority energy does not want to move. It does not want to change its mind. Its mind is made up and it's going to stay very much in that authoritarian might is right attitude when it comes to everything that I've just been talking about. Control of the human race in general. Four of Pentacles, stubborn-minded, pig-headed, wants to keep things the way they are, wants to keep the status quo the way it is, isn't willing to bend, isn't willing for compromise, wants to hold on to what it has already, doesn't want to let go, doesn't want to give anything away. It's that kind of energy. And the Emperor to me kind of represents that kind of governance and establishment and patriarchal authoritarian, again, that authoritarian energy. So over the top of the Knight of Swords we have the Eight of Swords. Again, this sense of being trapped, very similar to the Four of Pentacles here, and as I was saying about this being information that's not being given to us. The Eight of Swords talks about a situation, oh, straight after that we have the Nine of Swords as well, which is interesting because they kind of go together. Yep, Nine of Swords was also in reverse. So, okay. So the Eight of Swords, I'll talk about the Eight of Swords first. The Eight of Swords is this situation of allowing ourselves to be kept in our place, if you like, for want of a better way of expressing it. It's about allowing others, or our own mind in many cases, but our own mind can be influenced by outside sources as well. So that's something else that comes into play here, is other people's viewpoints, beliefs, understanding of the totalitarian, draconian, dictatorship kind of energy that keeps us small, because here he's kind of hiding. He's hiding behind these. He thinks he's safe, but he's actually trapping himself in the limiting, restrictive space. So there's a sense here of believing that you're going to be safe by making not rocking the boat, by not kind of going against what's expected, because the mind is telling us that this is the best thing for us to do, but at the same time it's actually not keeping us safe at all. It's actually boxing us in and making us more vulnerable, more exposed, more easily seen or traceable, that kind of thing. But the thing about the Eight of Swords is that it is done, we do it to ourselves. We can literally make the decision to walk away from that trap, because the swords are literally only in front. There's nothing behind and there is nothing to the side. And so what looks like prison bars in front of us are only there at the front of us. There is space to walk free. But we have to be able to stand up and stop kind of believing that this is all there is, that this is it. Because what comes straight after that, we have the Nine of Swords as well. And the Nine of Swords is all our fears coming at us. And you see that bird with the big teeth. I'll turn it up the right way, it's much easier to see. But this bird has got big sharp teeth, but again it's kind of in the mind. It's kind of like the monster that that steals our self-worth and our empowerment of what it is that we do and don't deserve. But this monster, I mean, it's like it is real on some level. It does exist, but it's also, it's a bit like that, the bully. It's like standing up to the bully, or allowing the bully to keep us down here. So these, I feel, are also some of the decisions that are going to have to be made, or we will be making, as we get more to this place of loss and emotional guilt, and it's going to bring out a lot of grief, a lot of grief and distress, and sorry, I've just been given another reading that I did a few years back, of a similar situation that I did. I think it was New Year readings about, was it 2019 or 2020 I might have done them. And in those readings I said that there was a lot of emotion that was going to be pouring out, and it's just, I've just realised that that's probably what it was all about. So don't know where that came from, but anyway, the Nine of Swords here with these big sharp teeth, it's the monster that is the establishment, it is the authority, it is like us standing up and this monster fighting back, but we still have to stand up to it. We still have to stand up to it, because if we don't stand up to it, it will devour us. Is how I'm being told to put it. It will devour us. And that's kind of where we're at this time as well, in our environment, what is around us right now. Take that one. Oh, okay, far too many cards. Interesting. This is in our hopes and our fears. So we have the Five of Pentacles, which is to do with loss, to do with losing our, like being left out in the cold on our own, no support, no family, no home, nobody to love us. And this, as I was saying, is in our hopes and our fears. Again, it's in reverse. And that's followed by the Star of Hope, or the Star, which is for me the Star of Hope, of kind of reconnecting after a time of feeling left out, feeling that things are, this card feels like card of doom, really. Isolation, again, card of isolation, but this is a different kind of isolation. This is an isolation caused by loss. And the Star of Hope is kind of, when you get to this point of like, you can't go any lower in many ways, you can't get any further down, then the only way really is to go back up. And that's kind of the collective energy, is like reaching that low point, and then from that low point we're kind of rising up again. Because we also have the Illumination card. And the Illumination card is kind of, it's a card that's unique to this deck, and it's about untold, like infinite possibilities. Like anything is possible. It's like standing at that very beginning of something. Like as everything else with this Five of Pentacles, as everything else kind of falls apart, and then kind of finding this hope within, or realizing our connection to everything after sinking to the very bottom. And then it's like coming to this point of, like I say, infinite possibilities of anything is possible for us. But it also feels like that realization that we are the creators in all this, which is why anything is possible, because we are creating it. When we're not in this energy, when we're not in this energy and we're in this energy, this star energy, connecting with everything, with the universe, with the universal force of creation, then anything is possible for us. And we have the Nine of Pentacles. Again, it's in reverse. So again, it's about our self-worth. Self-worth, value, understanding how important, how valuable our self-worth is in order for this to be able to be achieved. That if we're not coming from a place of self-worth and self-value, then we can't get into this energy here. If we're coming from a place of these energies here, then we just create more of this energy here. More fear-based energy. Because this is our hopes, in our hopes and our fears. And finally we have the Four of Wands here as well. And the Four of Wands, it is in reverse, but it is also an energy of celebration. So for me, it's like saying that we want to get to that point. It's like we want to be able to move beyond this energy of fear and loss and grief, and move back into a place of celebrating our lives. And it is over the top of this sun energy here as well. So it is coming through like this, like I was saying, this awakening. And with this sun energy here as well, this feels like a canvas, like I was saying, like a canvas, like painting our lives on a canvas. Like we are the artists, we are the creators, we are the one that is creating and painting our own life. And when we realise that, then we will be able to do more as a collective for the collective, because it benefits all if we can all do it as a collective, in unity, coming together to understand that. And also I think as well with this Four of Wands, there is a kind of stability within this card as well, particularly when it is upright. I know it's in reverse, but when it's upright, for me, it kind of represents that stable foundation for something to be built on. I'm not taking them, there's too many. So the last card, the Hierophant, Six of Pentacles, and something else. Okay, it came out. So there is this sense with the Three of Chalices here, there is this sense of celebration, reconciliation, reconnecting. But it feels like reconnecting for ourselves is how I'm seeing this, like cutting out the middleman. Like we don't need the middleman in order to be able to celebrate and enjoy life. and to connect with the bigger picture. Right, the middleman, we don't need to be told by the middleman how we feel, how we connect, how we, it's like this energy is old energy, old, stagnant, no longer needed, past its best, as I like to say, energy of, I suppose it is similar, as I was saying, it is similar to this energy as well, this kind of controlling, dogmatic. It's about finding our own happiness, finding our own connection, finding what it is that works for us on an individual level, however that may be. We also have the Six of Pentacles here as well, so I would say that it's going back to this place of innocence. And this place of innocence is something, because it's in reverse here, it's like this place of innocence is something that is being destroyed. It's like, how can we discover this if our place of innocence from our childhood, from when we are really young, if that's already destroyed, already yeah, it just feels like it's something that's already been turned into something negative, something, it's like there's no innocence. No innocence, no playfulness. Okay, it's to do with children. It's to do with children. It's to do with how important childhood itself is, and how childhood itself is being, I just keep being given the word destroyed. Yeah, destroyed, manipulated, so the Six of Pentacles, yeah, again, I'm going to come back to children and what is happening with the children, and I have spoken about this in a previous reading as well, about how important it is to do with the children at this time in particular. Okay. So I'm going to put another card on top of this, but how that's coming through is that if your childhood is already ruined, if you've already been isolated and your childhood has been like, it looks like a very dark card, this card, to me. It looks like shadow. It looks like there's a shadow, there's a darkness, there's something sinister, there's something that's not, there's not a lot of light in that card. And I'm also going to use the word magic here, but I'm going to use the word magic in the sense of innocence, in the sense of light, in the sense of like of awe, of things being awe-inspiring and life being full of wonder and mystery and the unknown and discovery and nature. And it's like all of that is being slowly eroded away. Okay, I'm not going to take these cards. So that is where I'm going to finish it. I'm going to finish it with the Six of Pentacles and just say that that's how it feels, is that it's all being slowly eroded away. This innocence, this playfulness, this love of life, this creative spark is all being removed from, I would say, the generations to come is kind of how it's coming through. Because if we go back here, this was our challenge, remember? This was our blocking card, the energy that we're needing to work with. And it was about generations. Erosion of family ideals, erosion of strength in the family unit and what that means. And so the card we've got here is a blessing woven in truth. I've not seen this one before. And it says, have the courage to speak your truth and a heavy burden will be lifted. It is best that everyone involved know where they stand. The truth will set both you and others free. This is a blessing for all concerned, but most of all for you, dear one. So that is a really interesting message, because I feel as though that's kind of what I've been trying to say about standing up, speaking our truth. And Aries energy is very much about courage. It is about the self. It is about the I standing up. Aries is I am. Full moon in Aries is I am energy. I am. I exist. And I just want to pull some reflection cards here as well, because this has been quite a heavy reading. But we are in quite heavy energy, and one of the reasons for that is the fact that we've got a lot of energies all focused on Pluto at this time. And Pluto is all about transformation, is all about death, rebirth, and particularly death. I mean, I'm not going to shy away from it because it is about speaking the truth, and Pluto is that energy of not only power but also the underworld. And there are a lot of people at this time who are leaving the planet for one reason or another. So 2 cards. Time was created out of the necessity for physical experience. Time does not exist in the reality of light. That's interesting. In the astrology reading that I've done as well, I do talk about the light and the information, and how light is information, and how the Egyptians were well aware of the fact that time, sorry, not time, but light was information. And so there is no darkness, only light. And you, the ones who are expanding, will know this to be true. That's interesting. There is only light. We live in a duality world where we have both sides of those coins, though. So again, balance, also choice as well. I'd like to pull one more of these, and then I'm going to finish the reading because it is getting on. I'd like to finish it before the 2 hours especially. So, last card. There are no limits, only those which you impose upon yourself. Listen for the answers, they will always be there. So, that's where I'm going to finish the reading and say, I hope that you have enjoyed it. I hope that you've got something from it. I hope that it has benefited you in some way. If it has, please could you thumbs it up for me, give me a like, because it does help to show YouTube that people are interested in what I have to say. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please could you do that. Thank you to those of you who have liked my videos, and those of you who have subscribed to my channel. Thank you very much, and thank you for listening to me again, and for being here and being a part of my journey on this channel at this time. And if you want to check out any of my other videos, you will find them on my playlist as well. There is also, of course, that bell which you can tap if you want to get my videos as and when I put them out, so that you know when they are coming out. And I think that's about everything. Also, sorry, before I forget, I just had comments come into my head. So also, if you want to make a comment, that would be really lovely to read what you have to say. It is nice to get that feedback and to kind of have some communication with the people who are watching my videos. So if you want to just leave me a quick message and I will get back to you. YouTube does not always tell me when people comment, and it doesn't always tell me when people actually subscribe to my channel either, so I don't know why that is. But I'm going to leave it there and say again, I hope you have a really wonderful new moon, sorry, full moon. I often do that, get them around the wrong way. The full moon in Aries energy, which will last from now right up until the following 2 weeks. I think the next new moon is in Scorpio, and it's on the 4th of November. So I will try and get some videos out before then as well, but the astrology is really kind of taking up a lot of my time at this time in particular. And I also am going to be a bit extra busy from now until after my daughter's wedding, which is happening on November the 6th as well. So hopefully I will be able to do these upcoming videos for the new moon, but it might not happen until later. So with that being said, thank you very much, wishing you all the best, and hopefully see you again soon. Take care.